So I've had a booktube channel for over a year now, and can you believe I've never shot a TBR video? The reason I haven't shot a TBR video is I do not give myself a schedule that I have to read this book followed by this book followed by this book. I also would not consider myself a mood reader. I don't jump from one book series to another and one book to another. I generally stick to a series and then move to the next series. So there is some structure in my reading, but most of it is, what do I feel like reading now? That's what I pick up. And I think that's one reason that I'm able to read so much. But I saw a couple booktubers recently give some videos that made me think, well, maybe I can do kind of a TBR model based on the way I read. So Brian Lee Durfee over at his channel, he does a to TBR or to not TBR video every month. And I like that. He gives you 5 or 6 books that he might read, he might not. He doesn't promise that he'll ever read any of them. And then each month you kind of see how he did at the end of the month. And then just a couple weeks ago, Andrew over at Andrew Wizardsley Reads did a video on his TBR and his MBR. So his to be read list and his maybe read list. So with those two channels in mind and those two concepts in mind, I said, well, maybe I can do that myself. So I have 10 books in front of me. I have 5 that I would consider TBR that I'm pretty certain that I will read. And then I have 5 more that maybe we'll get to them. I'm not going to force myself to read these 10 books this month, but these are some things that I might read. And then we can check in next month and see out of the 10 how well I did. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first 2 are part of the series that I'm currently reading, and that is the Poppy War Trilogy by R.F. Kuang. So I will definitely be reading this month The Dragon Republic, which is the second book in the Poppy War Trilogy. And the third book is The Burning God. And you can tell by the bookmark, I'm kind of cheating already. I actually finished on the first of the month, Dragon Republic. So I'm at least 1 for 10 next month. But The Burning God is the third book in the trilogy. I've read just the first one. The Poppy War was a really great read. I'll talk about it more in a couple days. I'll drop my review of my May book reviews of the 12 books that I read in May. And I'll talk about the things I really liked about that book. But it's a Chinese-inspired fantasy with a very compelling protagonist that tells a story and goes a different direction than you would expect. And I'm really enjoying this series. So 1 and 2 on the TBR this month are Dragon Republic and The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. Number 3 this month will be Shadow of the Giants by Orson Scott Card. This is the 4th book in the Ender's Shadow series. And I'm rereading these Orson Scott Card books, 1 per month this year. We're going to finish up with Shadows in Flight in December. And I've liked most of them. Last month's installment, Shadow Puppets, I didn't like so much. I left it's a rant review because it was a lot of bad in that book. But I'm hoping that Card returns to form and I will read Shadow of the Giant next month. So hopefully that's another great installment like the earlier books in the series. Another one that I'll definitely be reading this month is The Red Pony by John Steinbeck. Steinbeck is my favorite of classic authors, and I've read all of the big famous ones, and I'm starting to just explore his back catalog. And The Red Pony, it's pretty short. It's really more novella length than novel length, and I really don't know much about it, so I'm looking forward to reading it. I enjoy Steinbeck, and didn't read any of him last year, so I'm reading a few of his this year to just get back into, again, some of his back catalog. The last one on the TBR side of this video is the Pulitzer Prize winning novel Killer Angels by Michael SHAARA. I love historical fiction, and I have not read a lot of historical fiction this year. And I need to remedy that. So this is, again, a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. It's a retelling of the Battle of Gettysburg, set in the American Civil War. And I'm actually reading this one in preparation for, I'm going to be on Jody Sperling's podcast, and we're going to talk about this book. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I've heard just nothing but great things about it. All right, so those are the 5 definites. Let's talk about the 5 perhaps, or MBRs, or whatever you want to call it. I have one loaded up on my Kindle already, a thriller by Peter Abrahams that's called Pressure Drop. And Peter Abrahams is also Spencer Quinn. I don't know which one's his real name. One is a pseudonym, obviously. And he just writes really well-plotted thrillers. And I generally like to pick up a thriller when I finish an epic book series, like these 3 big Poppy War books. It's nice to just pick up a thriller where I don't have to pay so much attention to, grand world building and all these characters and concepts and things like that, and just read some plot-driven stuff. So I imagine that Pressure Drop might be something that I might pick up after Poppy War. Additionally, I'm traveling this month, going on a little 4-day vacation, and Kindle's always great to travel with. And I also like to read things that are a bit easier when I'm on vacation, so that if I don't read at all, I don't forget anything. But also if I want to just dabble and read a little bit here and there, a thriller is a great choice. Another one in that vein that I might read next month, again, possibly when I go on vacation, is this book by Stephen King called Secret Windows. And this is a series of essays. This book was actually a supplement to the Stephen King Book Club. And I had never heard of it because it really wasn't published except as part of that book club subscription. And it's just a collection of essays. Some of them are about writing, because this was a supplement when he put out his book on writing. And some of them are forwards to other books, and it's just kind of a smattering of Stephen King. And this is another great one that'll be easy to take with me on vacation, because I can read an essay. I don't have to worry about remembering anything when I get to the next one. So even though it's on the MBR, this one's highly likely next month. All right, 3 more on the possibilities of next month. And this one is Warrior of the Altai by Robert Jordan. This has been sitting on my physical TBR shelf for far too long. This was Jordan's first novel, and I heard that he wrote it in like 3 days or something ridiculous like that. I've missed Jordan's writing. I really enjoyed reading The Wheel of Time 2 years ago. In fact, I like his writing style quite a bit. When Sanderson took over the series, although he finished the series admirably, I kind of miss Jordan's writing style. It can be a bit repetitious, it can be a bit flowery, a bit overly descriptive, but I always enjoyed it. So we'll see what early Jordan does for me, and hopefully I'll get to this one this month, Warrior of the Altai by Robert Jordan. All right, 2 more. I have one, I talked about this one in my recent book haul, and this is A Soprano on Her Head by Eloise Ristad. I like to read 1 or 2 things a year as a musician that will help me grow as a musician and perhaps give me some things to tell my students about. And this is a operatic soprano just reflecting on performing. And it's a book that everybody that I've talked to that's read this book just kind of raves about it. And a mentor recommended it to me. So it's one that I hope to get to this month. I'll get to it very soon. We'll see how June goes. And the last one, this will be something I'll show you on my next book haul video, but I haven't shot that video yet. But this is Robin Hobb, and this is a short book of hers called The Wilful Princess and the Piebald Prince. This is very small by Hobb standards. And this is a very short novel that tells a story hundreds of years before the Farseer trilogy, but ties into the Tawny Man trilogy, which I just recently read a couple months ago. Probably could have read this while that was going on, but I frankly didn't know it existed at the time. But when I saw this pop up just on my Amazon Things You May Like, I of course immediately ordered it. So I'm looking forward to reading some Robin Hobb. I'll also be reading the Rain Wild Chronicles very soon. I have that just penciled in, because I don't set a schedule, but penciled in for July. I'll probably start that book series. But I'm looking forward to reading more Robin Hobb. If you like Robin Hobb, I'll be talking about her very soon. I have one of my next probably top 3 videos to shoot is a full review of the Tawny Man trilogy, which I loved so much. Fool's Fate was one of the most emotionally jam-packed books I've ever read, and I can't wait to talk to all of you about it. Well, that's my TBR, or whatever you want to call it this month, 10 books I might read this month. Let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought. Tell me what's on your TBR as well, and then maybe make a prediction. How many of the 10 you think I'll read? What's my score going to be? Am I going to get 80%? Am I going to get 70%? 20%? Who knows? But as always, thank you for watching. I hope you like this TBR video. Look for my May book reviews in just a couple days, and I'll see you next time. Take care.